At 12:45 Irish time, we'll have that for you. Now, at this time, every week we have the guys in from BookBuzz to tell us about the latest business titles out there and what you can learn from them. And Ron Immink, co-founder of BookBuzz, is with me in studio. Morning, Ron.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Not too bad. What have we got this morning?
What matters now? How to win in a world of relentless change, ferocious competition, and unstoppable innovation.
Sounds a great title. Is it any good? And does it cover any new ground?
I don't know. He wrote a book. Hamill has form. I mean, he's a very good author. He wrote the book Future of Management in 2007. And it was a very good book on the importance of management innovation and basically a plea for change. And then, do you read a lot, Ian?
I do, yes.
Do you remember your first Ludlam?
No.
What type of books do you like?
More of a history man.
You remember some of those authors when the first book you read was absolutely fantastic, and then they get into this cycle and they just rehash books, and they become more and more boring as they go along?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
You know Grisham. First
John
book,
Grisham,
fantastic, and then he got a contract, and then he has to write loads and loads of books. I get a sense that this is very similar. So he wrote this, what matters now, which is a more urgent plea for management innovation. And he starts with the crisis. And what he would maintain is that the crisis was caused by managers being absolutely no values, deceit, greed, denial, blind indifference to human cost, you just name it, bad management. And so he says that just can't go on. And he says it's time for a moral inventory. So you can get the tone of the...
Getting very fluffy stuff he's going on about.
There you go. So, and then he brings us to a journey where he says innovation is important. Duh. And we have talked about those books for a long, long time. So there's absolutely nothing new in this book. But if you want a book that covers all the bases, absolutely a very good book. So when he starts talking about innovation, which example do you think he used?
I would go for Google or Apple.
Apple. So there's nothing new in there. So we've read that a few times. He talks about the importance of passion. And it's a good question because I was at an HR conference last week. And there were a lot of HR managers and HR directors. And about 50% of their staff is engaged, which means that 50% of them are not engaged. And I think that's a terrible, terrible statistic. And he talks about, the Maslow pyramid?
Yeah.
And he sort of changed...
You might explain that for...
Oh...
Very briefly.
Maslow is, he has sort of the basic needs. You put me on the spot there now. Well, I give you the one he has designed.
Yeah, we'll go with Hamill's, yeah.
So Maslow is sort of basic needs, and then you move up into the sort of the pyramid of needs. And in his pyramid, obedience is number 1, diligence and expertise are number 2 and 3, and then you move up, so you start adding value. The next one is initiative, the 5th one is creativity, and the last one is passion. So how do you get people to become passionate? Now, we talked about the thank you economy, we talked about Mavericks at Work, we covered those bases. So again, nothing new. Then he talks about the ideology of management. And he uses a few examples, and one of the examples he used is Gore-Tex, and which is a company that has no management structures whatsoever. Now, he uses that exact example in his last book.
Very briefly, is this a book for somebody who hasn't read all these other titles?
Yes,
Is this very
absolutely.
basic starters?
Yeah.
And is it worthwhile picking up, or should they just...
You know what? I think we're blind because I've read too many of them, but if you haven't read many books on change, this is the book you should read.
Okay, Ron Immink from BookBuzz, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That book, What Matters Now by Gary Hamill. Well, up next...